It's Rick without the K. James presents, in my opinion, podcast.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Thank you for watching.
All right, let me transition over to another topic. I do want to ask this, and I guess I'm going to ask it the way you're familiar with the Joe Rogan shit that's been going on, right?
Absolutely.
The N-word they got.
Absolutely.
I'm not really going to ask too much about Joe, but I think you know Aida Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Right? And she was just recently on
Love
The
Ida.
Breakfast Club,
Yeah.
right? I love everything but her name. And
Ida
I only say that
Rodriguez.
because my ex-wife's name is Aida.
Oh, okay. I fucking love
Which
Ida.
is it's really Aida, right?
Aida.
But I saw her on The Breakfast Club, and she kind of didn't want to give her own comment, and I understood why. And she explains it. She goes, "I'm not I'm kind of towards the bottom of the totem pole, and if I say something wrong, that's it." And sometimes that's the way us comics feel. Sometimes where I'm like, you know, I get a lot of people like, "Why didn't you ask DL this?" And I'm like, "Cause I'm not his peer." Like,
No.
like I can't.
Yeah, don't act like that.
Yeah, I can't.
Certain
act like,
questions
hey,
can only be asked by certain people, man. I don't know why people don't understand that. Certain
And I think
questions can
even
only
you
be
alluded
asked.
to that with Corey Holcomb. Like,
Yeah. Certain questions can only be asked by certain people. Certain
Like, don't
things
get me
can only
canceled
be
before I
said.
get
But
started.
yeah, I'm not getting canceled. They like, Corey say it. Yeah, because that's Corey's brand. That ain't my brand. It ain't my brand to say something that might get me shunned from.
So am I the
of-
first person to ask you about the whole Joe Rogan thing?
Yes, you are.
And would you like to give your thoughts, or you'd like to pass over
I'll
on
give
like
my
I?
thoughts because I know because I might not get the opportunity to talk about it. I was like, if I ever did Flagrant 2, I was supposed to do Flagrant 2, but Schultz is so fucking busy, and I'm
he's
touring,
everywhere.
and then like I tried to catch him when I did Caroline's in New York, because that was kind of right after. Look, I don't give a damn how many times he said nigger. I don't care what he said contextually. It's the Planet of the Apes shit
That's
that
what I've
had
been
me
saying.
like, because Joe Rogan,
It was just how regular and how nonchalant he said
Joe
it.
Rogan presents as a intelligent person.
Very, yeah.
That's how he presents himself, as an intelligent person. He has some of the most intelligent people this world has ever seen on his podcast. And they have intellectual conversations. He talks about all these different things. He talks about race, culture, all these things. He dives into it, and he lets all these people talk about it, and he's always listening, and I feel like he's trying to learn. Joe, you didn't know that you couldn't compare black people to monkeys? You didn't know that? You didn't know it was off color to compare black people to the Planet of the Apes? You ain't know that? You ain't know that. You had no idea. And this is the thing. He tripled down. That's what made it like, he was like talking about going to see Planet of the Apes. We were in Planet of the Apes. Strike one. But I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's not meaning. Maybe he's meaning that it was like ragged or something like that. He was like, nah, it was like we were in Africa. What?
Strike two.
Strike two. What the fuck? It was like, nah, man. It was like Planet of the Apes. We were literally the only white people. Oh, so you're definitely calling black people apes. There was no any place that you had to go. Maybe he meant something else. He gave you 3 times to be like, no, black people are monkeys. That's how he felt. That's how he saw it. And then his bullshit ass apology. He was like, hey, look, don't get me wrong. My feelings toward Joe Rogan has not changed. I wasn't a big Joe Rogan guy. The funny part is, like Dave Chappelle says sometimes, I'm more of a comic than I am a black man. Because he was talking about Kramer was bombing, going, "You're a nigger, you're a nigger, you're a nigger." And he said the first thing I thought was, "Oh man, Kramer, you can get him back." He probably won't get him back. He was like, "I want to see how he gets himself out of this." He was more interested in seeing how he would turn the set around than getting offended by the word nigger. And I feel that with Joe Rogan when I watch Joe Rogan, because I'm a comic. I feel like putting Brendan Schaub on is way more egregious than saying the N-word. You have the most powerful podcast, and you are attached to comedians because you're a comedian, and you choose to bring these awful comedians on there. Ari Shaffir is awful. Awful.
Man.
Brendan Schaub is awful.
I think I'll double down with you on that. Ari just...
They're not good. And these
Brendan's a good podcaster, man.
Man, I don't care about him being a good podcaster. People are going to go watch them do comedy, and they're awful. Brian Callen is not a good comic either. They're not good comics, and he's helping these motherfuckers get on because they're friends. Joe, you owe it to comedy with your big-ass platform to have the best comics on there. True. You have the opportunity to launch people's career, and you're launching guys who also are obviously racist. I ain't talking about Brendan. He's not. Ari Shaffir, to me, obviously racist. Obviously. There's no getting around it to me. Now, listen, I don't need anybody to get mad at me or being like, this is my opinion. Yeah. My opinion. He might not be. I don't know what's in that man's heart. But from what I see and what I interpret whenever I listen to that man talk, racist. And I'm just like, I just don't have any, like, I don't care. It's not that I don't have a problem with Joe Rogan. I don't have a love for Joe Rogan. I don't know this nigga. So I don't feel anything. But that whole Planet of the Apes shit, and then in his apology, this is what I meant by bullshit apology. He said, if you kept listening to it, you would have heard me talk about how I enjoyed that experience. So let's say I said, man, I was in West Hollywood and there were faggots everywhere.
Am I going to have to cut this part out?
No.
Keep going on.
I'm making a point.
All right.
And I was like, man, I went to like a pride parade. There were fags everywhere. Oh my God. And then the LGBTQIA community is like, hey man, don't be saying that shit. That's offensive. You know that's offensive. Yeah. Why the fuck would you say that? Don't refer to us as that. No, you guys didn't wait. I said I had a good time at the parade. You didn't wait on that part. If you would listen to the context, I was saying I was eating cotton candy. I had a good time. Like, what are you talking about, dude? There's shit you can't say. You know you can't say. You know you shouldn't say. It doesn't matter if you said later that you had a good time or you learned. Stop saying shit like that about people. Now, I don't worry about if you can choose to cut that out or anything. If you don't want it on yours and you don't want any backlash.
I don't care. I don't care.
But all I'm saying is, and I respect that. But if anybody watches that and goes, oh, Ryan is bigoted. If you took what I just said out of context, I want you to be offended. If you're in the LGBTQIA community and you hear this part of the podcast where I'm literally trying to defend you're thinking I'm being bigoted, you deserve to be offended because you don't understand the English language. So I'm cool with that.
There was something that you said that I kind of don't understand too. There was the fact that you said Joe Rogan has his platform, and sometimes I feel like I do this podcast and I try to get on every comedian that I can. You know what I mean? And sometimes when I see another comedian like, nah, I don't want to do that, but I've done that. I'm like, why are we helping other comedians out more? Like, this is our
comedians do that all the time.
But
we're we supposed to do that. I do that.
This is our environment, right?
I shout out other comedians all the time. I don't get it. I feel like if comedians know that there's a comedian that's super dope, all of us should be trying to elevate that person.
I mean, unless you personally know them. Where I said, you know what's funny, man, and I've said it before, where, and again, hopefully it doesn't come off wrong when I say it, but I'll be the one to say it, is I said, I feel like Latin comics really don't help out other Latin comics a lot.
No, they all think it's one spot.
And
treat it like it's one spot.
Do you know how many people I've asked to be on my podcast and like I haven't had, and I'm not saying that I'll never will, and I invite everybody, a Angela Johnson, a Willie Barcena, just anybody that you can name off of, right? I would love to have, because that's what this platform is for. But I don't understand why it's that crabs in a barrel mentality type shit, where it's funny to me, and I say that's why I love black culture as much as I do as well. And I said, because when I ask a black comic, they're just like, cool. Like, I didn't even have to finish my question yesterday, and you were so
like,
nonchalant. Okay, what? And I was trying to give you the info. You were the first that, and that's why I tried to get your number or whatever, where normally somebody pushes me off to, okay, I said I'll do it, now go over and talk to so-and-so. And I'm like, okay. Like, and I'm just trying
back. I was like, just come back. I'll be here.
So nothing against it. Like I said, again, I'm thankful for everybody that's done the podcast, but I just feel like when it comes to comics, sometimes we don't help each other out, where I just hope that I get to that point, man. Where
it's insane. And plus, look, man, this is another opportunity for me to interview. I'm getting something out of this too. I'm getting the opportunity to practice interviewing. Practice waiting my turn to talk, because I overtalk people, and I know I probably overtalked you in this.
Oh,
but
I do.
But I know you don't care. We chopping it up. But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to be more purposeful and answering questions straight and direct. I need just as much practice as interviewing. I don't want my first interview to be my interview with Oprah. Why not get as many? Why not get as many of them under your belt as you can? Everybody's helping everybody. This podcast blow, you get to interview the most famous person you ever interviewed. You have 90,000 interviews under your belt now. You're not intimidated. You know how to go. You know how to go about doing it. So why not just? You don't know what this could lead to. You might end up on a syndicated radio show. People might be listening to you all over the country one day, and you're going to know how to make. How to entertain everybody in this, because you've been doing this for so long. We got to help each other out. This is how we get better at anything.
Definitely. Yeah. I think comics need to just, because on the other side, man, we have to deal with, not only do we have to deal with the comics, but sometimes we have to deal with the venue sometimes. You know what I mean? The venue's always going to try to get their upper hand on us too. So you're just like, man, at some point, I was just having this conversation with Barbie, one of the bartenders downstairs, and she's like, when's your next gig? And I'm like, Barbie, right now, just my mindset, I can't deal with that, so I focus on my podcast. I said all the little hate and the this or that from comics, I'm like, I still write and I still try to get up here and there, but I'm not begging to do a show no more. I'm like, I'm past that point. I've been doing this shit for 10 years. If I got to beg you for fucking time, then I just don't want to do it. If you're going to call me to feature a headline, then cool, let's do this. But if I have to go out of my way, I'm like, no, man, I'd rather podcast it, man. Yep. I'd rather chop up some videos and chop it up with someone that can sit down with me and talk some real shit.
My best contract that I get through all the comedy clubs is with my home club, the Comedy Zone in Charlotte, right? Uh-huh. I didn't beg to get on with them either. I had my own room somewhere else in Concord, and I was making social media content and all of that, and I put myself in a position to where they had to book me. That's what eventually will happen.
Because that's the plus, and I say that's the biggest upside of this shit is I got tired of begging you to let me perform and bring your venue money.
Right, and they'll appreciate.
I would rather get my followers up, and then you call me and, hey, Rick, can I have you on?
They will call. Rick, they're going to call. Don't you go back. Don't beg for nothing. You gonna show them, and they will call.
Charlie Murphy, my main man, Ric James. That's the one you think, the comedian Ric James. Get up.
I can't hear my neighbor crying. I can't breathe.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Thank you for watching.